Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. So, have Porsche admitted that they've made a huge mistake with their significant push towards EV-ification? It's an interesting one. There is a CarScoops article floating around at the moment saying that back in October 2024 there was an earnings announcement, a market update, and the CFO, a guy called Lutz Meschke, came forward and said that Porsche were looking to refresh the current combustion engine lineup for the Cayenne and the Panamera, and they were looking to expand the hybrid offerings. And there was a third point as well made, which they were looking at potentially giving more flexibility to R&D for putting ICE back into EV-only platforms, more flexibility in terms of those powertrains. And it's this point that I want to discuss in this video because it's pretty significant, right? And we've got to look at Porsche's history here and how they were built up. So founded all the way back in 1931 and built up a hugely loyal fan base of massive petrol heads over the years, because they were making brilliant cars that really got people excited, right? And that is that massively important fan base that they've got out there at the moment. And you hear that every day. You just cannot impress those combustion Porsche fans with EVs. And I totally understand that. I get it. Even though I'm driving around in a Porsche EV myself, you can't expect people who have loved combustion Porsches all their lives, all they've ever known, all they've ever loved, to then say, by the way, it's all electric now. It is totally understandable why those folk just struggle to get on board, right? It's like saying, hey, you can't have your toast with butter anymore. It would be pretty dry and pretty boring, right? So they've said this point, or they've alluded to the fact they might be looking to adjust how they develop these EV platforms going forward, right? So the possibility of retrofitting these EV platforms with combustion engines. And it is this point that I really want to unpick in this video, because it is a massive about turn, right? You have to admit. And understandably, with the way EV sales are going at the moment, they are still growing slightly from a whole EV market perspective, but Taycan sales are down massively, if not completely stalled at the moment. So, you know, with this prospect on the horizon, with buyers speaking with their wallets, Porsche are probably thinking, oh, you know what, we've really got to do something about this. We've got to try and reverse this trend that we're seeing. If you look at what Porsche are doing right now, what they've done from an EV perspective, we have, of course, the Taycan, been around since 2020. The Macan EV has just dropped, pure Macan EV. You can't get a combustion one of those going forward as well. That new platform's EV only. And of course, we've got the next variant of the Boxster stroke Cayman, the 983, which is going to be full EV only, right? And this is the thing, that is a significant shift towards developing EVs for Porsche, right? In terms of their model lineup. And here is the first problem I have with this, or the first thing that gets me thinking, are you going to truly make a good car if you want to whack an ICE engine in one of these? And the reason for that is EVs have very much been designed from the ground up. This platform, the J1 platform, designed from the ground up to be an EV. And it's brilliant. It is absolutely fantastic. Cannot stress that enough. I love it. If you've never tried one of these, try one. Try a Taycan. Even if you love ICE, even if you're one of those people that says, you know what, it's cool to hate on EVs, just get out and try one of these, because wow, they are so good. But this is the point. It was designed from the ground up to be an EV, not a combustion car. I think if you wanted to put a combustion engine in this, you would really struggle, because where would it go? I think they've designed the dimensions to incorporate that massive battery under the floor. It would be massive retro engineering to get to this point where you can put a combustion engine in here. And you've kind of already got this out there with a combustion engine car, sorry, with a combustion engine in it. Yes, it's called the Panamera. Panamera, I think, was used as a kind of design platform for this. Lots of design cues taken from it. But you have that out there. So you'll never see a Taycan with a combustion engine. A Macan, possibly, might have a bit more room to play with. But the one I want to focus on right now is that 983 platform. So the new EV Boxster stroke Cayman that is coming along. And I hear a lot of commentary, or see a lot of rumours floating around, that they're really struggling to get this car right. The whole purpose of this car is it is truly supposed to be a fun car. So the battery is of a different design. Normally in an EV, the battery is pretty much the floor of the car. Acts as the kind of chassis, if you like, in a way, or it sits inside the chassis. This 983 platform, the battery sits behind the rear seats as a kind of block, if you like, much like where that mid-engine would go in the 718. And they're struggling to get it right, I think, in terms of the thermals, potentially, because you've got this big dense block. How do you keep it cool properly when you can't get to the middle of that, potentially? And it's designed by, I believe, people are saying, Valmet Automotive out of Finland, looking after the battery aspect of this car. So this car has absolutely been designed from the ground up as an EV. And what I struggle with is, if they wanted to retrofit this with a combustion engine, would it be possible at all? Or would it even be worth it? Because what we have to look at here is what's happening in the near future. As I make this video, it is 2025. And it feels like in about 2 weeks' time, we'll be in the year 2030. And from then, no new combustion or diesel cars can be sold. No new pure combustion or pure diesel cars can be sold. It's only 5 years. So are the R&D folk really going to have time to even get this done when they haven't even finished the actual EV version of this car right now? Let's just say that comes out later this year as planned. Might slip. They've only just released this. That only leaves them with 5 years to potentially retrofit and test a combustion car for what? Another 2-3 years of sales? And will it be as good as the previous 718 that you can buy used, that I think a lot of folk are going to be going for? So certainly in my head, it's really struggling to add up. And my concern is, have they said this just to keep the existing petrol heads happy, with no real intention of making this a reality? That ban on combustion and diesel from 2030, hybrids get a stay of execution until 2035. So you've got a bit more flexibility there. And of course the 911 variants going forward of that are going to be hybrids. So if they do anything with these, it's going to have to be through hybridization. I would be surprised if we see pure combustion versions of those EV cars that have launched. So it does leave us with a significant conundrum right now in terms of the path forwards here. What are Porsche really going to do? And I think a lot of folk are really going to, unfortunately, grin and bear it. I think a lot of those Porsche traditionalists are just going to have to grin and bear it, that the only way they're potentially going to get their kicks going forwards is if they look at that current market base of used combustion cars, right? And some of those cars are absolutely brilliant. I'm very excited right now to watch Chris Harris's video on the 959 drop today on YouTube. Love that car, can't wait to see this video. But That is what it's all about. That is what gets people excited. It's those combustion cars out there at the moment that really keep those Porsche traditionalists happy. And I think trying to shoehorn an ICE engine into an EV platform in the amount of time we've got left, is it something that we're really going to see? You know what, I'd be very, very surprised indeed. But we've got to wait and see. Anything's possible right now, huh? That's it for this one. Do stay safe, stay well. See you on the next one, and bye for now.